got a saying that I always tell my boys, right? Failure is very much a part of the DNA of success. So you're going to fail. It's how you respond that determines how you move forward.
Welcome to the Kash and Dash Show, episode 336 with Shane Taylor.
Sponsored by Owala.
You know, I have that exact water bottle, and I forgot it at home. And I was like,
They're the best.
I'm like,
They are.
I have the same colors and everything. I'm like, where's my water bottle? I went in the truck to go look for it, and then I saw yours, and I was like, that's not mine.
Yeah, this was a Father's Day gift for me because it looks like a golf ball with the dimples in it.
Yeah,
a special edition.
It's very
and
cute.
then Shane rolls in with one, and you've got one. So yeah,
But I forgot it today.
Owala, hit us up.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shane, after we met at the National RIA conference, what was that last October? And I had to miss the Bigger Pockets conference. I tell you what, you and I really connected because we knew each other, but we didn't know each other.
Right.
And you were there working with what, REI Black Book?
Yeah, REI Black Book. I was helping,
What is
spread
REI?
the message.
What is that?
REI Black Book is a software for investors that'll run the business for you. Everything from phone system to CRM to websites, lead tracking, all that good stuff.
Is it kind of a subscription model? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it basically helps you operate your rental portfolio.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you do?
I didn't know anything about it.
What do you do for them anyway?
So I'm working with a group. We provide some feedback. Damon is completely rebuilding the system. And so I'm part of a group that we provide feedback on features and things like that.
Kind of beta testing.
Yep.
Is that? Yep.
Yep.
All right.
So
Is Damon doing investing himself?
yes.
We have to maybe connect us for a future podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an active investor.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I met him a few times.
REI Black Book was the software for Rich Dad for a long time.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
I knew
that's
that
how he
sounded
kind of
familiar.
got
I
their
just
start.
didn't. I didn't know what it was.
Been around about 20 years. I've been using it about 20 years.
But you guys did a massive revamp of that recently, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's rebuilding it from the ground up. And yeah.
I remember that was part of the conversation when you presented at
Yeah.
the event. Anyway, so Shane had a booth there. I think we're the only two Omaha guys that were there.
Uh-huh.
Or wahoo!
Yeah, right.
And we got chit chatting and ended up hanging out pretty much the whole entire time. And then all of a sudden you started showing up to the RIA events, and here we are today.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, speaking of software, you mentioned 20 years you've been using it, but you had a W-2 up until not too long ago, right? About 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What was that like?
So I worked for a great company for, about 15 years. I stuck with one company, and we built systems, negotiated contracts with large vendors like Dell, Microsoft.
You guys in the same world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So worked with great organizations here in town like Nebraska Medical Center, University of Kansas Health System was one of my big customers.
Now, were you in sales, like technical sales?
Technical sales, primarily, again, negotiating contracts and large buys, building out systems.
Were you, is the term solution architect applicable there? Like you would come
not for me. I was more on the sales side. We had solution architecs that we worked with.
Awesome. Yeah, I used to recruit people. So I worked for IBM for a number of years, and then I worked for Rico Americas because they acquired a division of IBM. But I did recruiting work for them and program management on the staffing side. So I would recruit people like you. Yeah. So if I could probably place you if you want to if you need another gig.
Actually,
real estate blows up.
Funny story. I actually took a job about 2 years ago.
Oh, you did?
I did. I thought about going back
to the dark side.
I did.
Okay.
And about 3 months into that, I realized that was not ideal.
And because you're doing that and running your businesses and your investment portfolio and whatnot.
Right. But they just, it kind of came down to, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse after about 4 months of interviewing, and
that's a long interview. Yeah, that's a long interview process.
So
I had one of those situations about a year ago. It was like a number was really
Tires
good.
Plus.
Yeah, Tires Plus. Yeah. And the numbers were potentially about $250,000. And I was like, man, shit's tight right now. And I just got out of this bad partnership. And my wife's like, you need to take this. But then they're like, you got to get rid of the podcast. You got to get rid of your other businesses. You got to get rid of your RIA group.
I put my foot down. I said, nope.
Yeah.
We're keeping the podcast.
Owen's like, I'll start paying you.
Well, that was a good decision, right?
Yeah. And here we are.
Still losing money.
Exactly. So, okay. So 20 years in that industry. Now, when did real estate enter the picture for you, or investing? Like, maybe tell that story. You had a regular job. You probably did fairly well in technical sales for being with the same company for 15 years. You're not going to keep around dead weight, right?
Yeah, right. I did really well there. I guess it was about 2008, just shortly after the apocalypse.
Yep.
And my wife and I actually went to a Rich Dad seminar.
Okay. I might have been there.
Yeah. So we took the 3-day course, bought a couple of courses, and that's kind of how I got started.
Mm-hmm.
Did nothing for about a year, and then had lunch with a good friend of mine who known for 20 plus years, Lance White.
Yep.
I think you guys know Lance.
Well, yeah, we had him on as a guest in
episode 94.
Episode 94, way back in the archives. Yeah, that was a fun episode.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was the OG office.
Yeah. And at the time I hadn't seen Lance probably in a couple of years. So we went out to lunch, figured out we were both doing real estate, and we're like, hey, let's do this together. So that's what we did. So we started on about a, I guess, 8-9 year journey. Doing flips together.
Primarily flips?
Primarily flips. We had a couple of rentals, but primarily he and I just worked together on flips. And then we separated for our buy and hold stuff.
Okay, if you don't mind, I want to kind of dig into this for a second. So you reconnected with an old buddy, figured out that he was interested in the same thing you were, right? So he had more. Had he been doing it for a little while?
Yeah,
then?
Yeah. He had one flip under his belt.
Oh, okay. So you guys were pretty new.
We were both pretty new. Yeah, and then together we went and bought into the Fortune Builders.
Oh yeah,
education program, and that
comes up a lot.
It does. Yeah. Fan and
Paul.
Paul.
I tell you what, they had a tremendous system. We kind of got in on the lifetime buy, so I still have access to the library, but it really accelerated what we were able to do.
Are they still flipping? I
think they're mostly commercial now.
Okay.
I don't think the education program is active right now. I mean, they still have the library up, and you'll still see some up-to-date webinars and things like that. But I don't think they're touring cities and doing the face-to-face stuff anymore.
Yeah, they for those of you that are like, what are you even talking about? Back in that time frame, so like 2005 through 15, there were kind of the original house flipping shows. There was Flip This House, Flip That House, Property Ladder. There were a few like that were on HGTV and a few other like A&E or something like that. But yeah, the Fortune Builders program was created by Paul Asagian and Than Merrill, who used to play for the NFL, and JD. Yeah. And I loved those guys, man.
Yeah.
They had a great show. They were very funny and entertaining, but they also had really good systems. And I remember I bought, I think off of eBay, I bought one of their full, like their binders that had basically the whole recipe for how to flip a house, estimating rehab costs, all the stuff. I loved it. Yeah. It was very helpful for me just to kind of learn, because I did the same thing. I was probably for 2 years, I read every book I could get my hands on and went to these free seminars, and I always resisted because I didn't have any money to pay for the boot camp or whatever they try and pitch you. But it was super helpful for me, just the information to get the courage to make the leap. Right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, we spent, I don't know what it was at the time, but it was significant, but we made that back in 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy, but what I loved about it is they not only talk systems, because you'll go and you'll hear about systems everywhere you go, but they actually had a program in place, like you said, those binders, things like that. Very detailed systems, and I still use those today. Yep,
they were actionable stuff that you could actually use on deals. Now, if you don't mind, so you and Lance had I know you still own some deals together, but you kind of not exited, but you kind of wound down the tourist group, which was your LLC, right?
Right.
What did you do right, and what did you do wrong in that partnership when you were setting it up originally?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. So, I think we did a lot of things right. We really picked up momentum after about a year where, like I said, we went through some education, started putting some systems in place. At one point, I think we did 18 wholesale deals or flips in 1 year was probably our peak.
And you were still working full time.
And I was still working full time. Lance was kind of doing the day-to-day operations, but occasionally I would take over a project, and do some stuff. But as 2020 approached, how the market started getting with lower margins, and it just didn't make sense for us to continue and split that.
That's what a lot of people still say today.
Yeah. Well, and I had a lot of other things going on. So I was winding down my corporate career. I was looking at stepping away. I was getting burnt out, traveling 4 days a week, 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's tough with family, especially.
And so I started looking at franchises, which we can kind of get into here in a little bit, and ended up making a choice to buy the franchise.
Okay.
The day after the country shut down, a fitness franchise. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, obviously it started taking more of my time to get that off of the ground than I had anticipated.
Now, fitness in particular, though, combat sports, right? Is that kind of the
Oh, you
gist
consider
of it?
that fitness? I thought maybe this was another business.
It's considered a fitness business, right? Because you're in martial arts, especially our brand of martial arts. We're doing a combination of traditional karate, sport kickboxing, and Krav Maga. So it's a MMA type.
Well, the last time we had anybody that did any type of martial arts was Brandon Turner, and then he put me in a headlock during the podcast.
Yeah.
But, with me having to spend more time there, we just decided, hey, let's go do our own thing. And I started running the business, and then we had, personal life. We talked a little bit before the show. My wife's mother contracted Alzheimer's, so we moved her in with us. So one of us had to be there.
All the time.
Yep.
So that's hard.
And that went on for about 4 years.
Yeah. So can you kill people with just a matter of fingers now that you own this franchise? Or
no, but I can make people disappear.
He knows people. That
I know
can.
people. No.
I mean, did you have to have some level of personal knowledge of martial arts?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I took karate right around the time the Karate Kid came out. Right. So
yeah. Can you still do the crane?
I can actually still do the crane. In fact, I went into the dojo the other day and I actually threw a sidekick, jumping sidekick, which I haven't done in a while. So,
sounds like an injury waiting to happen.
Yeah. Trust me, I don't do it very often. Right,
like a McGregor fight when he runs out and does one kick and he's down.
I got much younger, more skilled people running the show now. So, but I took that when I was in high school, and then I did some while I was in the military. So,
gotcha. What branch were you in?
I was in the Air Force.
Air Force? Cool. Yeah. Okay, so you opened the gym. Was that, did you say 2021?
Well, I bought the franchise in 2020. We opened in 21. It took us a year to get open. And
we describe that. So for somebody that maybe has like kicked around, opening something like this, how much time were you spending there as the franchise owner?
I was spending a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Especially I was running the build out. I was running everything up until opening day, hiring, that's one of the toughest things I've had to learn over the last couple of years.
Still is, I'm sure.
Yeah. Trying to find good people is hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that first 2 years, I was there every day.
Did you buy the building or were you leasing?
We're leasing.
Okay.
Yeah. We're located in the Walnut Grove Shopping Center. We're in the same shopping center as Urban Air.
Oh, all right. Okay. So approximately how big is the space that you're in?
We're about 2,000 square feet.
Okay. And then you had to do tenant improvements. Did you have to pay for those when you were negotiating your lease?
No, we advantage of negotiating after the world shuts down is
commercial real estate was tough.
Very
back
favorable terms.
Yep.
And tenant improvements, we got, I can't remember what it was at the time, but it was enough to pay for the build out.
Awesome. Yeah. Just a quick note on tenant improvements. So for those of you in commercial real estate, you'll probably get the gist of this. But when you have a commercial space and you're leasing it to a tenant, they may need to customize the interior of it to fit whatever their business is. And that cost isn't always paid for out of pocket by the tenant. It can be negotiated with the owner of the building, and you can amortize that over a period of years so that it's not, yes, as the commercial property owner, you're going to have to pay for the rehab costs, but you get that recovered plus interest from the tenant if you negotiate it correctly, or or somewhere in the middle. Right. So just a quick side note on that, because we haven't had too many people that we've talked about that specifically. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So you got it built out, opened, you were hiring, learning how tough that is after you figured out people don't want to work after the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, my first instructor I hired quit opening day.
Oh, no.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
So it took about 30 days. My oldest son actually took over.
Oh, jeez.
Did he go somewhere else? I mean, why does somebody quit on day one?
19-year-old kid, who knows why.
Yeah.
So,
wow. That's not a good resume builder.
No. Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is I actually hired him again another year later as an assistant.
And he did it again?
about 4 weeks later, he quit again.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So left me teaching because we had did an agreement with the YMCA to teach classes, and I was using him to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I had to finish the last 6 weeks teaching classes myself, if you can imagine. So,
okay. How much in the way of like staff do you have, and do you pay them per teaching session they do? Is that how that works?
No, so I have a full-time manager
Okay.
that runs it. He's my lead instructor, full-time manager. I pay him a salary plus a little bonus.
Yep.
Pay him well so I don't have to be there.
Yep.
So, and then I also have a second assistant instructor. I pay him hourly. We run classes 4 days a week, full time. And then occasionally on Friday, we'll do special events. Weekends, we do birthday parties, things like that.
Okay. Yeah. So is it to the point where you don't really have to go in all that often?
Last week was probably the first time I'd been in a couple of months. I mean, I still do we still do weekly staff meetings, but I do that via Zoom.
Okay.
And then, I just hired also, this is probably my most proud moment, is we just hired one of our students who was with us from the beginning.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so he's now a first degree black belt, and he's helping with classes and stuff. And then we hired our second student last week. She's actually doing lead follow-up and things like that.
Okay.
I think Shane would be a person to answer that question from that airdrop email that we had about the kindergartners coming in and
yeah, we had an airdrop. Do you mean an email?
The email, yeah, the on-air email.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had a listener question that was how many kindergartners do you think you could take if they were released 5 at a time every 30 seconds in an octagon, and you had to get them to either tap out or knock them out?
Yeah, one strong hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, you might get injured kicking
We
them.
do that daily. We got about 20 on the floor.
Do you?
So how many do you think you take out?
Oh gosh.
Every 30 seconds in
Every
your batch.
30 seconds? Let's swat them away like flies. Wouldn't think twice about it. No, not just kidding.
All right. Well, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
We gave numbers on this.
So I am fascinated though by the franchise model that you're talking about, and I just think it's interesting. We haven't had all that many guests that have invested in a franchise, let alone to the point where you don't have to go in on the regular. Do you mind sharing, what's an average year for you as far as maybe gross revenue versus profit? Like, what's your margin, if you don't mind talking about that?
We're on track to do about 300,000 revenue this year.
Mm-hmm.
We have, I just looked, 129 active students.
Okay. Wow.
We're trying to get to 150 before the end of the year, so that'll put us in a really healthy position where I can give out bonuses and stuff for Christmas. That's kind of where I want to be. But I guess back to your question. So it took me about 2 years to get to that point to where I had enough people in place to
pay for itself.
Step away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even make a profit.
Now,
so
my next question would be, so you hadn't done this before. You opened a location, you got a killer deal on the lease that you signed. You got tenant improvements thrown in there, so you didn't have a ton of money out of pocket for that part. Have you thought about opening another location? Is that even on your mind at all?
No.
Okay. Got it. All right. No, that's fair. That's fair.
No, so the difficulty with martial arts here, I think, is it is not as prevalent as it is in the South. So the hardest thing I've had to do is finding good people to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that pool is very limited.
Got it.
And when you're in that culture, when you come up through a certain school or dojo or whatever, it's a very different culture. You're kind of tied to that culture. That doesn't mean we won't take those people. We absolutely will. My current instructor is a 3rd degree Taekwondo black belt, just got his 3rd degree in our system. And, like I said, it's a very different culture, and the fact that they're very loyal to their lineage of martial arts. So,
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's flip back to real estate. So you and Lance joined forces with a grand total of 1 flip under your belt when you decided to take on the world. Now you mentioned 18 was probably the most you had going. And granted, you had a full-time job, so that's still significant. What did you use to find deals? Were you doing direct marketing at the time? Was there MLS deals everywhere? What, like, maybe talk about that for a second.
At the time we were specifically working with wholesalers. So again, one of those reasons we kind of stepped back is because we hadn't really dug into marketing and doing all that. This time around,
that world was nice.
I live in marketing. I am not in real estate. I'm a marketer, right? So that's what we're doing now is we're really focusing on marketing and doing a lot of direct mail and have some other things up my sleeve down the road.
Okay.
So,
and do you do any like pay per click, any meta ads, stuff like that?
We were doing some pay per lead.
Okay. That's become more popular recently.
Yeah, it really wasn't working out as great. Most of the deals, the 2 deals we're working on now, they were driving for dollars, believe it or not.
Okay.
And
tried and true method. It's the most work, but it's the best bang for your buck by far.
And with REI Black Book, we have a system where we can drive by, and when we're in front of that house, we can actually send a postcard directly from that.
That's super cool. Yeah. So REI Black Book, I got to check this out.
Yeah.
Are you going to start chasing leads again?
You know, I'm going to do a few flips this year, not like I was before, because I just can't handle it. But yeah, I think I might do a little bit. I do like
pay-per-click is his bread and butter.
It was, but I will say, you know, I put up my website I think in 2017 originally, and I spent COVID, since we couldn't go out on appointments. I spent a lot of time. It's terrible now, so please don't look at it, because
I just looked at it last week.
It's really bad. It's super dated.
So I had to get some bio information when I looked you up. It was like one of the first. That's old. It's one of the first things that comes up when you look up your name.
I know.
And so I had to, and your pictures are very old with the kids.
Yes.
And I had to take his bio information from there. I'm like, they might need to do some updating on there.
There's super bad. But my point on that is we're still getting deals off of it, like from SEO. We're paying. I think it probably costs, I'm going to guess, $1,800 a year to keep the Carrot site that we use. So Carrot is a common investor platform. And I think it's $1,800 a year. And then we don't spend any money on pay-per-click. And we're still getting leads, about 1 a week, I would say we get. And, maybe it takes 10 of those to get a deal, but it's free. Yeah. And if you make 30 grand on, 6 deals a year, geez, it took forever to get SEO to the point where it ranks higher. And I've had people, when a few people, I'm sorry, not to make this about me, but no, it's relevant to what you're talking about. I had about 3 or 4 people call me when they found out I was like kind of not marketing anymore. And I kind of wanted to get out of flips recently. They offered to buy my website. Like, I had several people reach out to me, or they're like, hey, will you do our marketing, keep your website and just transition it to our info? And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to. So
because you could just sell those leads.
Yeah.
And make a lot more money.
Yeah. So, which I haven't done that either. I'm terrible at that part, but okay. So back to the direct mail and the things you were doing. You said you're more into, which aspect of it's working best right now?
Direct mail. And then we're piloting a program. I'll let out a little.
This is a secret.
I'll let out a little secret. Okay. We call it Bandit Sign on Wheels. So the 4 of us, our family, have put the signs on the back of our car, and you can track it through REI Black Book with a phone number and an extension. So we can assign it to a driver. If somebody calls in and comes in on that extension, then we can pay a referral bird dog fee. We'll call it bird dog fee.
Yeah, smart.
Out to that person for a lead if they put the sticker on their car.
That's really smart. Yeah.
We have 2 that have called in. We just started advertising about 3 weeks ago for drivers, and we've got 2 going on next week. But I've gotten 3 or 4 leads out of that in the last month.
No kidding. Do you get people that are mad that call?
No, not really.
I had to look at that in the car and sit in traffic. Oh, I'm so mad.
The funny part is, my oldest son and I, once we started, we put these on, I guess, probably back in January is when we started. We both signed up to drive Uber just to get out and be driving.
Okay. Be seen.
Be seen. Pay for the gas. Might as well.
Driving for dollars.
Right.
Yeah.
Proof of concept. So now what that triggered in my head is, okay, maybe we need to advertise toward DoorDash and Uber drivers.
Yeah.
Who are out and about anyway.
Do you do a QR code with the phone number?
Nope. Just the extension. When you dial in the 800 number, it's the number plus a 2-digit extension. That extension is assigned to a driver, and it's all tracked in REI Black Book.
Dude, hey, mind meld here. I think QR code might be a good move because somebody pulls up to a stoplight and they're like, we buy houses or whatever. They don't have time to write down the number, but they got their phone because everybody has their phone at a stoplight. Yep. And just boom, take a picture.
Yep. And in fact,
I take royalties, by the way.
Yeah, we've actually talked about that. because, even the last lead I got, they had taken a picture of the back of the truck and called from that.
Yeah.
So,
huh. Well, that's that's pretty innovative.
If somebody wants to do that with like RIA memberships in local, let me know.
yes.
Oh man. Okay, so you live in the metropolis of Wahoo, Nebraska.
That's right. Big city.
And you're not from there originally, or
I'm not.
Okay.
I grew up in East Tennessee.
Okay.
I got here via the Air Force.
Okay, so you were at Strategic Air Command.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
In Bellevue. That's how you ended up here. Did you live in Lincoln, or how did you know Lance?
So Lance and I were part of another business adventure. Probably, gosh, I guess it's been about 30 years ago now.
Jeez.
Yeah. Imagine that. Time flies, right? Knew each other through that. Our families remained friends all that time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
What was the business?
We were in a network marketing business.
Okay.
Yeah. Together. So.
Wait. I got to do Amway.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
That was gonna be my first guess. Amway or Quickstar or I almost got hooked into that.
Me too.
Well, I laugh about it now, but it's really where I developed my sales skills because I am naturally introverted.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, just being part of the system, learned how to sell and I parlayed that into a career. And
okay, so sorry, I keep harping on this, but when you and Lance got together, did either one of you have your real estate license?
No.
Okay, was that on purpose?
It was on purpose. What we learned over time is not every agent is
investor friendly.
Investor friendly. Yeah, we'll say it that way. So as part of my preparing to leave the corporate world, I actually went and got my license.
Okay.
So I am a licensed agent now.
Who are you with?
So I'm with Real.
Okay, I think I've heard of them.
Yep. So they're one of the national cloud brokerages.
All right, if anybody catching this is debating, should I or should I not get my real estate license if I'm going to be flipping houses with the obvious intent of making profit and saving money on commission, is it a good idea, bad idea? Do you regret getting it? What are the pros and cons?
I don't regret getting it at all.
Okay.
In fact, with the wholesaling laws changing over the last few years.
Oh, it's going to get crazier.
Yeah. It's been actually more of an asset than anything.
We have an event next month, September 16th. It's all about legal wholesaling and how to get around it. I literally had a conversation with Paul Vacheski this morning. We're going to most likely have him in live next week to kind of talk a little bit about details before the event. But it's going to come down to the fact that you have to have a license now.
Yeah.
And they're voting on this. And a whole slew of changes are about to happen. Completely change what's already been established.
Yeah. And I have mixed feelings on it. I mean, there are some that abuse it.
Yeah.
Right.
Could you describe, like, how do you, as a licensed realtor or real estate agent, you have a fiduciary responsibility for the buyer and seller or whoever you're representing, right? So if you're buying a house directly as a licensed realtor from a seller, like, what do you have to do to disclose that hey, I'm buying this, I want to make money on it, it's not just for the commission or whatever? Like, any tips there?
Yeah, the first 30 seconds, if I call somebody and I'm talking to them about setting a meeting, first thing I tell them is, hey, I'm a licensed realtor, but in this particular transaction, I'm not acting in that capacity.
Okay. Yep. And do you put that in a clause or anything in your purchase agreement?
Yes, it's in our purchase agreement. It's there. All of our website stuff. I've got to adapt it to our banded sign on wheels. I've got to do my license number on there, which I just ordered stickers for that. But yeah, to me, it's not that big a deal because I'm a fairly transparent person anyway. When I walk in, here's what I think your house is worth. And being a licensed realtor, I have a little bit of an advantage. I can say, hey, here's what I think it's worth. If we list it, here's what I think we can get, and here's how long I think it'll take to sell. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're in a situation where you don't want to deal with all that, then here's our cash price. If you want to do some owner financing, there's a different price, they can get some more.
Yeah, love that.
So we lay out essentially 3 options when we walk in.
Yeah, I love that approach because it gives you just more options instead of just like, do you want this offer or not? It's do you want this one, or this one? It gives them options, and then they can pick, well, you know what, maybe let's try and have you list it for me.
Yeah.
It takes the guard down.
Yeah.
Because I did the same thing.
We
talk about this all the time.
Yeah. We just did. Ted and I just did a transaction today where he facilitated it, and you were above board with him about. You're like, hey, I think it's worth this. If I list it for you, if you want a quick and easy transaction, here's what the number could be, and so forth.
And I also, if you just want to get contractors in, I'll bring in all the contractors. Yeah. And this particular person was just like, no, my mom passed. I don't want to have anything to do with it. This is the number I need. Long as you make this number happen, I don't really care what happens. So it was a for sale by owner, and then brought the buyer in this situation. But I was originally going to buy it and just flip it myself.
Yeah. And then Jessica got wind of it and said, how about Owen buys it?
Well, and I'm going to take it one step further in our marketing, because we're going to start to focus a little more toward the retail side. But, we'll give you a guaranteed cash offer, whether your house sells or not, and we'll leave it in place. If you want to list it, we'll list it for a period of time. If you decide, hey, let's not do that anymore, then we'll buy the house.
Yeah. No, that's a great hook. I do like that. Now, let me ask you this though. I would guess that your goal isn't really to get the listing, right? Yours is more of marketing, or do you care?
Honestly, at this point, I don't really care.
Okay.
Going through these 2 flips that we've done as a family, we've run into some roadblocks, bumps, if you will. To me, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Less friction, the better.
Yeah. I just, you hear people that complain, Ted in particular, about the process of listing and selling a property, like all the drama that can happen, and the
drama, the paperwork.
That's why I brought my mom on as a partner when it comes to listings. She's really good at it.
My son, actually, my youngest son, just got his license.
Did he?
Passed the test yesterday. So
congratulations.
He's going to be working with me on the retail side, working with buyers.
Is that Noah or Jackson?
Noah.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet you're glad you're paying for a mechanical engineering degree when he's getting his real estate license.
They have something to fall back on.
Okay, we'll put a bow on this part of it. But do you know offhand, like, guys, what does it cost? Like the initial for taking the test, getting your license, and then like the ongoing.
It's got really expensive lately.
Yeah,
has it? I know it probably depends on the brokerage you're with, but
I should know this, because Noah just went through it, but a couple $100 each class that you got to have, which I think is 2 or 3 now.
At least when I was a broker and bringing people on, I would tell people just plan on $2,500 up front between the licensing and cost. But the hours of classes have almost doubled.
Yes,
if not more.
He got in before the change, but yeah.
Okay, well then it doubled, but before that also.
Yeah.
So it's the hours have gotten significantly more of the amount of courses you got to take. You used to be able to finish something like this in 2 months, maybe 3 months, and become an agent if you could pass the test fast enough.
Yeah, and then you have continuing education classes, which, by the way, we have an upcoming event September 16th with Paul Vacheski, which has some accreditation.
Yeah, 3 hours right there for that event.
Yeah. There you go, boom. But see how I teed that up?
It will be at the Holiday Inn downtown, though.
Oh, that's the venue.
The venue got changed, so we're going back to the old school venue.
Okay, so flips, you mentioned it didn't seem like you really wanted to talk about it, but I'm going to pull on that thread a little bit. What are the problems you are going through with family, the two pack of the family flips here?
Yeah, so not doing a flip in almost 6 years.
Yeah, a little rusty.
You get a little rusty, and you might overlook part of your system.
Okay.
The one house, we didn't pull all of our permits at the same time.
Oh.
I mean, we had intended on pulling the permits, obviously, but we had done, we were rehabbing all the bathrooms. So obviously the plumbing guys came in, they did all their deal, and then they had pulled their permit. My general contractor had pulled his permit. Plumbing inspector comes in, flags everything. Electrical, HVAC.
Okay.
Stop work order.
Yep.
Boom. 3 weeks gone. Electrical, I get, which we were going to pull the electrical, but the electrical guys it wasn't time for them to come in yet. So
order of operations is important when it comes to permit pulling, and letting somebody in the house before you have some of the other things that have already been touched is a big, Yep.
And then the HVAC, I don't even know why we even had to pull an HVAC permit, because we weren't doing anything to HVAC. Anyway, I went back and forth with this HVAC inspector. I called him every day for 3 weeks. I'm like, tell me what I got to fix. I'll get it fixed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't return a call. So they had originally told me that the HVAC had never been inspected.
Oh.
And so
now it's your problem.
Yeah. So 2 weeks after trying to deal with this guy, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go look. Well, sure enough, I go look, and the inspection sticker is on the back side of the HVAC, and it's signed by the guy I'm dealing with.
That had to be pretty satisfying.
Oh, yeah. So the next call I made was, hey, here's a picture of your signature on the permit. if you don't return my call, the next conversation is going to be in front of your boss first thing in the morning.
Oh, you threatened him.
Yeah.
Nice.
And sure enough, magically the stop work order got lifted the very next day.
Yeah, because that could backfire too sometimes.
Yeah.
Because then the next time you have that person, you're like,
yeah.
Then remember when you threatened me?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
well, you got it done.
I'm a nice guy until I'm not, and I can go from 0 to 100 pretty fast.
Yeah,
and I did
spinning sidekick.
Yeah, I mean, when you got hard money in 3 weeks, you know, $140 a day in interest. So.
Let's talk about the acquisition part of it. So when you and Lance were getting going, did you primarily use hard money? Was that so you worked a lot with wholesalers, developed relationships there. They were sourcing leads for you, used to take deals down and close quickly, used hard money, and then did whatever you were going to do to the project. Did you struggle like a lot of newer investors do in understanding what rehab costs when you went through? Was that a sticking point for you?
You asked what were some of the mistakes we made. I think early on, we didn't really account for our holding costs properly. I mean, we accounted for some holding costs, but now my golden rule is we're counting for 6 months of interest period. Holding costs. That's it. And depending on the project, it could be even more, but it's a minimum of 6 months now, especially with things sitting on the market a little longer. So that was probably one of our biggest mistakes early on. But once we figured that out, it was, but then it got to the point where our agent and our wholesalers and our financiers were making more money on the deals than we were. And I'm like, okay, this might be a point at which we don't split the cost anymore. So
yeah, that makes sense.
What price point are you guys really searching for? That's like the sweet spot for deals that are going off the market the fastest.
So the one I've got on the market now, it's been on the market now 40 days. We completed that one into June. That one's in the 400,000 range.
Okay.
Probably won't do that again.
Yeah.
So I would say sub 300, 250, preferably ARV.
Because that's a number that I tell flippers. I'm like, if you can be in that 250 range, that's a sweet
starter home to maybe move up level. Home.
Yeah. This one that we've got on the market, it was a divorce situation. We walked in. I'm like, oh, we can be in and out of here in 30 days. Well, then we had the inspection thing, and then that delayed some things, and then that threw contractors off schedule, and it was just a
snowball effect with it, right?
Snowball effect, and here we are 6 months later.
Yeah, and for those of you not local to where we are in Omaha, Nebraska, you might think, well, 300,000, like you can't even buy a shack, depending on where you're living, but it's all relative, right? So what the price point you're talking about, you can buy starter homes, you can find already built ones in decent areas for 250 grand, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? I'm not talking primo spots, but I'm talking good residential.
Like a 2-bed, maybe a detached garage.
Well, I'm talking split level. You're probably 275. That's probably about where those are. 80s built split levels. There's a lot of that housing stock across the U.S. So totally. But when you get up into the 400,000 and above range, you're competing sometimes with new construction, and there's a lot of inventory at that price point. And to your point, you have 40 days of holding costs now. There's longer hold times. Your soft costs get eaten up a lot quicker. Your insurance costs more. Your hard money costs more. All those things. So if you operate in the kind of sweet spot of stuff that moves, your profit margin might be, or your margin might remain the same, but the volume of the profit is going to be less. So it's more risk, takes longer to sell, all those things, right?
And on this one, we're actually in the process of financing out the hard money, and we're probably going to do a lease option because we haven't gotten a lot of traffic on it.
Okay.
So
you think you're just, obviously you must be priced too high, otherwise it would sell, right?
I had comps at 435 and we had gotten all the way down to 380.
So what's the feedback?
Feedback is, it's great rehab, but our clients just like, this other house better. And, this is a early 70s.
Okay.
All brick though. It's all brick, maintenance free, leaf gutters, sprinklers, the whole deal. Just, floor plan's not ideal. It's not the open floor plan like everybody likes. It's what they call a Rambler style house. So, you got the kitchen, table, galley style kitchen, and a dining room, and then the living room's over here.
Okay. Yep. So layout might be a challenge. They have maybe other options. A little bit of a
layout challenge. Other than that, though, there's 2,800 square feet there, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. We have a 5th non-conforming in the basement that, that room itself is probably 500 square feet. So,
and are you operating like most of your transactions? Are they in the Omaha area or Lincoln, or is it just wherever
we'll
the deals
work
are?
both markets. Primarily, I'm in Lincoln right now. It's just kind of the way it's worked with the boys being in school. We spend a lot of time down there, and they can run by the house when I can't get down there. Do the little things like we're watering landscaping right now and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's talk about family involvement. You mentioned your boys. You said one of them is getting his real estate license, and you have done some flips together, despite the struggles with inspections and whatnot. But how has that been going? How have you, like, what's that done for you as far as your outlook on real estate in general and the business?
Yeah, it's funny. I mentioned I went back for a W-2 for a little while, and about halfway through that year, my youngest son, Noah, comes to me and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I want to learn the real estate business. I want to get my real estate license." I'm like, "I don't think you want to get your license. You want to be an investor." And I said, "If you're serious, do this, this, and this." So I turned him on to our Fortune Builders Academy.
Yeah.
So I can track.
Were they cassette tapes?
No, it's actually all online.
Okay.
So I could track his progress. So he went through what was the equivalent of their 3-day course, their introductory course. And then I had him do wholesaling, and then I had him do flipping.
How much did you spend for that course?
I think me and Lance split it. I want to say it was like $35,000.
Yeah. Cause I just looked it up if it was still active, and it says that the lifetime membership is $50,000.
Yeah.
Today. And it is still active.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, they had to be printing money out of that.
Oh,
they're just putting a course together and then just selling it over and over and over.
Well, what I do miss is, and this all stopped with COVID, is they used to do an annual, and they would invite everybody. You didn't have to have the education program. The Ignite is what they called it. And it would be in Vegas 3 days in Vegas in December. And I don't know, they probably put 4,000, 5,000 people in a conference room there, or in a ballroom, I should say. I mean, we saw people like Magic Johnson, the dude who shot Osama bin Laden.
SEAL Team 6 is here.
Yeah. So, I mean, major speakers, right? And, probably 4,000, 5,000 people at its peak. We started, when they started, we maybe had 200 in the room. 4 or 5 years later, they had about 5,000 in the room, I would say.
Okay, you brought this up to your son. Were you kind of hopeful? Were you doubtful? Like, did you think, okay, he's not gonna be interested after?
Well, I wanted to make sure he was serious before we invested a lot of time and money, right? Before he, because like you said, it's about $2,500 to get your license. Yep. So I said, do this, this, and this. He did it. So then I said, okay, if we're going to do this, I want to teach you the investing side first. So we started talking as a family about doing it all together. Well, my oldest son at first wasn't really excited about it. And so I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to look at systems, relook at all the systems, everything that we're going to do. So I started evaluating CRMs and things like that, and kind of come back to REI Black Book. REI Black Book twice a year has what they call a boot camp. So where you can go learn how to use the system and everything. So I had intentionally signed up for boot camp with the intention of Noah going. For some reason, he had some kind of school thing where he couldn't go. So I talked my oldest son into going with me. So he went with me, got down there, started meeting investors, started hearing numbers thrown around. And he's like, "You can really make that kind of money?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we've done it before." And so he got excited, and then he got excited about the systems, and because he's
a mechanical engineer,
engineer, right? So anyway, that got my wife excited again.
I was wondering what Stephanie's play was.
The last domino to fall.
The last domino to fall. So we actually joined up. We bought the latest version of REI Black Book, and then I went ahead and we signed up for. They call it Fast Track, but it's really a mastermind group of users, and the group that we're talking about providing feedback on the software and stuff, and where we get in the room with other investors across the country and stuff. So we signed up for that. We've been part of that for a little over a year now, but it's been interesting. I wanted them to, first of all, learn something, how to build something from the ground up, and have something to fall back on. Because I've been in a situation where, I used to work for Gateway
Computers. Oh yeah.
I've been in a situation where they came in and said, "You no longer have a job." And it was another year before I had a job, So I said, this is a good way to start to build wealth and build kind of a backup plan. So we've had a lot of interesting arguments and conversations along the way, but it's been fun. So them learning, and
you think it's strengthened your guys' relationship in the end?
Oh yeah, definitely. With this house that I was just talking about, $400,000 house, when the contractors, my general contractor had 2 guys helping him. Well, they ended up getting deployed to the Iran stuff. So again, started falling behind. So we just jumped in as a family, painted the whole house. Me and the boys built the fence. Just jumped in and helped. And we built a very good bond as a family there.
Yeah.
And watching them jump in and do hard work, which I've never had a problem with that. Our boys are
pretty sufficient,
very responsible, always did well in school, always had their crap together. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been fun.
So was it a proud dad moment though? When
it was a proud dad moment.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was. I'll be even more proud once we get one of these houses sold and I can actually pay them. Right?
Yeah. It's just eroding as in front of your eyes.
Yeah,
because dad's carrying the cost.
Right. So, but no, it's been fun. They're both still really excited, even though we've gone through some of these issues. And the other house is kind of cool. We bought this little 700 square foot house. It had been empty for 8 years, and we've had to tear it all the way down to the studs.
Oh, wow.
I mean, even the outside.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
It had asbestos siding on it, so we
Yeah.
had to remove that. Well, when we removed that, the blackjack started flaking off, and so we were literally, you could see the
It's
outside.
shelled. It's shelled at that point. Yeah.
So that one's been a complete, when it's done, it'll be new construction, essentially.
Yeah. How much you got into that one? Or will you have into it?
We'll have about 130 into it. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in East Campus. It's got an oversized lot. I originally bought it thinking we could do, again, being a little rusty, didn't do my due diligence up front, thought we could do a duplex on it. 200 square feet shy of being able to do a duplex.
Oh, man. That
But
sucks.
we can do an accessory dwelling unit with Lincoln's new laws.
Okay.
So we had to replace a sewer line. So when they did that, I had them stub it out for an accessory dwelling unit so we can add on that later. I think we're going to end up keeping this one as a rental, or, maybe even do owner finance on it.
Do the kids have interest in owning rental properties and kind of the passive income part of it? Or are you mostly focused? They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We played cash flow from the time they were 8 or 9, 10 years old.
Yeah. I used to have the cash flow game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where it went.
So they,
Denless.
It's
they
right
understand.
in my
You borrowed it 5 years ago.
it's right under my table. I play it every now and then with my wife. So.
I actually, we were talking about digging up old manuals and stuff like that. Like I made a post about this last week, but I found going through my house move, I found in the back of the closet, like on the top shelf, was covered in dust, was the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow 101 and 202 audio tapes.
Oh boy.
So I had the actual cassette tapes back there, which I don't even have anything that plays them anymore. So
I got 2 totes of tapes. Two totes of tapes.
Or do you now?
We live on an acreage. I got a 40 by 60 building, but I've got 2 full totes of tapes of stuff like that.
Today's tongue
Zig
twister.
Ziglar, Les Brown, Jim Rohn, all that
Lonnie
stuff.
Scruggs, the mobile home dude, Deals on Wheels.
Carlton Sheets.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, those are old school, man.
Yeah. So,
Maybe-
in fact,
Maybe we can get these guys on the podcast.
I don't know if they're still alive.
yeah, right.
Oh, that's great, man. No, I love seeing the family involvement in it too. It makes it more satisfying and gratifying, I would imagine. I keep kind of dangling that out there. I mean, my kids have been seeing me do this, over the years and struggle and succeed and all the things. And I'm still hopeful that one of them might come around and we might be able to work something out with it. But how kids are. You can't force them to do anything they don't want to do.
And
so you just show them the way, and if they want to follow it, they'll come back eventually. And
I could totally see one of my kids, if not both of them, jumping in this at some point.
It's just when they hit the teen years, everything you think just goes completely to the wind. Yeah. It's teenagers. It's like they didn't even have the same brain that they had when they were 12. Like it's a completely new person.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that with my son this year.
Yeah.
I want to ask a deep question.
The good news is they grow out of that too.
Yeah, Dennis. What do you got, Dennis?
Do you think that the reason why teenagers hit them like that is because the school system isn't really helping them to think outside of what is being taught in school?
I could go real deep on that one.
Or it's puberty.
It's puberty. I don't think kids are being taught to think critically anymore. I really don't. And
I think that again, we could spend a lot of time talking about this, but yeah, I think there's a big failure in especially up through the high school level on just teaching kids how to be business owners and start things on their own rather than just get plugged into the corporate machine and work for other companies.
I mean, schools were built for a specific reason.
Yeah.
That was Rockefeller, right?
Rockefellers and
to be employees.
Mm-hmm.
And then in career fairs in schools, do they actually have investors come as a career?
No, I've never seen one. And I used to, I did a ton of career fairs being in recruiting for 20 years. So that wasn't even a thing.
Yeah. See?
No, I think it's probably part of that. It's part of just kids, when they hit their teenage years and they go through puberty and all that, they start figuring out their own identity and they want independence and they don't want people influencing them as much. And they kind of try to steer away from parental influences.
Yep.
And just say, you don't understand mom and dad.
And you really got to watch the social media.
Yes. Yeah.
It's bad out there. So I see it, majority of our students at the martial arts school are kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of focus on kids. We do have adult classes, and it's one of the reasons I chose martial arts because I had gotten down to like 3 different ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had martial arts school. I had another franchise that was esports. So video games.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd
be down for
pretty
that.
Sexy, And then I was actually looking at Chick-fil-A as well.
Oh, wow.
Chick-fil-A when I was in high school, and I got a good friend.
But you wish you would have got one of those.
Yeah. I got a friend that owns he's one of the only multi-store owners in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, but it's one of the reasons I couldn't pull the trigger on the esports just because of the whole video game thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do with kids, going back to thinking critically, you have to think critically when you're doing martial arts. So we put them in some stressful situations. You talked about how many kindergartners could you handle? So our black belt students, part of their black belt test is they're in the middle and they've got multiple attackers coming at them.
Yeah.
So how many could you handle, you think? How many do you think you could take out?
I don't know. All of them.
For how long?
Ted says he could last 60 minutes in a ring, 5 at a time, every 30 seconds. So it's 120 kids.
I would really just have to knock them out because I couldn't go the distance. I'm a big dude.
That's the whole thing.
Right? I'm a big dude.
Yeah.
I can pack a good punch up front, but if I go an hour, I'm out.
I mean, one even half punch on a kid is going to make them cry and go to the side.
Yeah. But crying isn't going to do it. You have to knock them out or get them to tap out. That was the stipulation.
And thinking about, I never punched my kids, just so you guys know.
Yeah. Disclaimer:
Ted's been practicing.
We do not beat kids up at our martial arts school.
But I'm thinking one hit of significance to any kid, and that kid is out crying, he's going to tap.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. There's no way you're lasting an hour. Is all I'm saying. Okay. No, I like this. So, okay, let's post-mortem. You've owned a franchise for a while now. It's been 5 years, since you opened.
We just had our 5-year anniversary.
And do you think anybody that is kicking around starting a business, is it a good idea or a bad idea to start with a franchise?
If I had it to do over, I'm not sure I would go the franchise route.
Why is that?
What you're starting to see in that industry is a lot of private equity coming in and buying everything up.
And then everything changes. What you thought you were signing up for is no longer the case.
Yeah. And so what you're starting to see with that is
there's no leeway or anything that you probably get once corporate comes in like that.
Now, I will say we were bought by Unleashed Brands about a year after I bought into the franchise. Unleashed Brands owns Urban Air, Little Gym, Snapology.
Some big national franchises.
Sylvan, all kids focused.
Sylvan Learning Center?
Yeah.
They own that too?
Yeah, they just bought that about a little over a year ago. It was a struggle at first because, I got to really what I say, right?
They're not going to listen to this.
But I would just say this, it took them a while for them to understand our business. We now have a president that's in charge who was a franchise owner and is making really good positive changes that I'm totally on board with. And I have no problem saying that out loud because we were just at our national conference and I told him that up front, because some of the changes we've made or he's made have really impacted our business in a positive way.
Yep.
So there's still a lot of work to be done, but if I were to start over again, I probably wouldn't go the franchise route.
Got it. You're having to pay royalties and franchise fees. Yeah. So the startup is a franchise fee, then you pay royalties based on and then I assume there's probably a marketing budget that you have to contribute to.
Yeah. So we pay royalty fees and a marketing budget or marketing fee.
Yep.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Shane, when you look at the past 20, 30 years of everything you've done, and you think about the failures that you've had in business, what one of those failures would you say ended up being the biggest success for you because you had a learning lesson that came out of it in a section that we lovingly call Failing Forward?
Harmony. We haven't even said it in a while.
Oh boy, that is a good one. So to answer that, number one, I've got a saying that I always tell my boys, right? Failure is very much a part of the DNA of success. So you're going to fail. It's how you respond that determines how you move forward. Going back to the martial arts school. So my instructor quits on the first day. I had never really hired people before. So I lucked up. I'll just say it out loud. Matt, I love you, buddy. my lead instructor walked through the door 30 days later. As I watched him grow over the next 30 to 60 days, I realized the type of person that I needed to hire. And he takes ownership. He is in effect an owner without the risk at this point, because he totally runs the day to day.
Yeah.
And I make sure that he's happy, and I want him to be happy, and just a good young man with a great family. And, you start to see the traits that you need to hire. So there was another franchise owner, or two guys that actually bought multiple locations of Premier Martial Arts here in town. They didn't quite make it, but I inherited their staff. And again, what I started to see from those guys, same type of people, right? They take ownership. They love what they do. Number one, I mean, you walk into my school, you'll understand my instructors love the kids. And Matt's told me multiple times, this is all I want to do the rest of my life. So they're passionate about it. They work hard. They take ownership. That's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned, is how to identify good people.
I tell you what, that's not something I've ever had to deal with as far as like really hiring people. I went through a couple of VAs, and I learned my lessons on how to train people, which I'm absolutely terrible because I don't take the time to train. So my current VA, John, has been with me for years. Yeah. He's like, we had this conversation with him like maybe a couple weeks ago, and he goes, yeah, you were terrible the first like 6 months. He's like, you didn't do anything. Like pretty much he had to just kind of learn as we go. And then, but for me, it was like a trust thing also. Like I needed to like build this trust with him, because I just assumed he was going to quit anyway. And I was just like, oh, when he quits, I'm done with this whole VA thing, Yeah. And so I didn't put all in it, because last couple VAs just sucked and they didn't last long. And then he stuck, and he's like, he saw something in it and really latched on. Now I have full trust in him, and he does a shit ton of stuff for me. And I would really see my job being very difficult without him in there now.
Yeah.
So you know he's going to hit you up for a raise after this.
He makes commission, so he makes way more money than a raises would.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting topic though, because like not just with hiring, but also with partnerships. So I think the natural tendency for people like you and Lance are an example of a good partnership that was a result of you having established friendship and trust.
Yep.
But it doesn't always work out that way.
Right.
And because that's the hardest X factor in a partnership is trust. It's really hard to trust somebody when you just recently met them. You haven't been through trial and error and the hills and valleys of, business and life. Yeah. And so trust is the thing that people, like I trust him or her, and then you build a partnership around it. But maybe you skip over some things that you really should have talked about, like what roles and responsibilities are you having? Like, and then you see this a lot with partnerships. Like you have two friends, they get into a business together. They don't really have defined roles and responsibilities. And then one of them ends up doing more work, and there starts to be building up a quiet resentment toward the other person. Or maybe one person put in all the money, and then, the person that didn't put any money in, who was supposed to be the sweat equity, they start resenting that person because now they're doing the work. You know what I mean? So it's just this constant balancing act of who's doing what. But the trust thing, it's like, man, it's hard to build that up with a new person, because you haven't shared experiences with them necessarily. Yeah. So, but that's kind of the tricky line you walk when you're joining forces with somebody on a business, right?
Yeah. And I will, in the future, I would do joint ventures, things like that, but I don't think I would do a long-term partnership again. And it's nothing against, what Lance and I had. It just, there's things that I like to do, and I'm pretty headstrong sometimes. And so that's not good in a.
Yeah, I'm the same. But I struggle with that with certain type, like buying properties and whatnot. I have my opinions and plans. I'd like to be questioned on things, and I like to go to people, get their advice.
Yeah.
But usually I'm pretty determined on what I'm doing, and I really struggle with that.
Yeah.
But that's the key. Like you said, you have to identify those things up front even on a short-term joint venture.
Yeah.
So,
I do like your example though, of the failing forward, where you kind of didn't really, it's like, okay, I have a kid. He said he could do it. You hadn't been really all that much through hiring in your experience. You've been more of a kind of like a solo contributor in your career. Right. You start this franchise, you hire somebody, they bail on you on day one. And then you're like, oh crap, now I have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody that comes along, exhibits ownership, accountability, some of those intangibles that are really hard to see on a resume. So, and this is anecdotal, but in the businesses that I've been involved in where we've hired, it's been more of like, we found the person and then we created a role specifically for them to handle because of that fact. They've exhibited leadership, accountability, trustworthiness. And then we're like, they have the ability to learn quickly, and then you plug them into the right role. I think that's not everybody can do that. Not every business is set up that way, but I think those tend to be the best hires.
Yeah.
Is those, you find the rock star and then you find something for that rock star to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And in fact, that's exactly how I would proceed moving forward on any business venture, finding the right people first.
How do you stay, I guess, involved? You've got your franchise business. You're kind of kicking off the little family venture with doing some flips. Do you also go out and I know you and I think originally met at maybe the Lincoln real estate meetup and then I've seen you obviously at some other things. Sure. Do you do a lot of that still, or is that kind of more whenever you have time?
I haven't much in the last few months because we had to jump in on that house.
Sure.
But yeah, that's something I'm going to be doing more and more. In fact, I'm going to become more visible on social media. I've got content built up for YouTube, probably about 2 months worth right now.
Okay.
And at some point, I'm probably going to kick that off. I don't want to kick it off until I know I can go the long haul. But,
Smart.
Just watching guys like you, one of my loves is RVing. So I follow a lot of RV people on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And, just watching what they do and how they do it. I know you got to have it built up. You got to be consistent. And I don't want to start it until I know I can go the long haul and be consistent on it. So, but staying involved, I want to get out. Like I said, naturally I'm an introvert, but I do get some energy from being around people sometimes. And, it's got to be in short doses, right?
And you can go and sit in a quiet room afterwards. But,
we actually just had this conversation in the mastermind. Damon called me out on it. But I'm like, I'm temporarily ambitious to be permanently lazy. But when I introduced myself,
I like that line.
right? When I introduced myself, I said, I'm naturally a caveman. Of course, he thought I said something else. He thought I was coming out at that point. He goes, what? No. But, I do it in short doses, and then, I need time to recharge. But I do want to get out, do a little more networking. You'll probably see me more at Omaha, RIA and the rail car.
You've been at a couple events.
Yeah. And, I've been pretty active down in Lincoln. Missed last week, but I'm down there.
How was that been down there? I haven't been in probably 1 to 2 years.
It's changed. Actually, Lance and I started that originally.
Well, I didn't know you, but I knew Lance did. I had no
idea. Yeah. So, and then Aaron took it over, handed it over to Josh. Now, Ryan O'Mell is running it, and he's doing a really good job, I think, of getting good speakers now. And
I didn't know that Ryan took over, and I thought Lance was trying to take it back over.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but Ryan's been doing a pretty good job of getting good speakers in, and I think we probably had 50 in the room last time.
So it's back. It's back.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
When do they hold those events?
It's I want to say the second Monday of every month.
Okay. Yeah, make a point together sometime.
Yeah, we should do a little road trip.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a while either.
Love to see you guys down there.
So what's next for you?
Like I said, I'm going to start to focus a little more on the retail side. When we talk about marketing, that marketing offer is, we'll give you a guaranteed cash offer if we can't sell your house. And so I do think the market's still a little bit hard. People still think they can get X for their house.
Mhm.
It's not, things are starting to slow down a little bit. So we're kind of in that funky period again of, this irresistible object and this immovable force. And so that's why I'm kind of turning my strategy a little more toward the retail side to kind of diffuse some of that friction in the transaction.
Yeah.
So
I like that approach.
Yeah. You're going to start to see me focus a little more on retail and hence the YouTube and social media and that kind of stuff.
I think if they can get the mortgage rates somewhere between 4% and 5%, all those people with the 3% rates and 2.9 that I have would actually start considering moving, which I think will speed up this housing market, which will change our lives dramatically and have a lot more better conversations.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Wish in one hand, crap in the other, see which one fills up first. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I don't think we're going to see 4% mortgages again, personally.
I would love to see it get below 5. I think it's just too high right now.
The market will really, really have to be bad for that to happen. The economy in general. And it could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
The jobs report certainly wasn't good last week.
Right.
So, we'll have to keep an eye on that. But who knows? That's why I'm an unpaid podcaster.
Right.
And if you want to sponsor a podcast, just let us know.
Yeah.
Well, Shane, I appreciate you coming down. Appreciate you giving us your story, man. I knew some of it, but I didn't know the 30-year span of it.
Yeah.
It's great. And it's nice to be able to connect with you through all these between the different meetups and seeing you down in, what were you? Was that New Orleans?
Yeah, it was New Orleans.
Yeah.
That was a great time, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Seeing you down in New Orleans, having a good time, getting to know you, and then seeing you at the local meetups. But appreciate how you support us. Yeah. And if you want to support us here on the podcast, please share Shane's story with somebody you think will get something out of that. Yep. And please leave us a 5-star review. We appreciate that. We love reading those reviews online. But with that, Owen Dashner, we see us out.
On behalf of Dennis Bertrand and Ted Kaasch, I'm Owen Dashner. You've been listening to Shane, Introverts Unite, separately in your own homes. Taylor, signing off.